Alright everybody, so this is my very first time to travel post-COVID, so I'm now at Tulsa International Airport. I am flying all the way down to Phuket. The airport's actually got a decent amount of people here. I still think it's got a much smaller crowd than usual, but what do you expect? We're in a pandemic. Although I'm still in the US, so I think things might be a little bit more back to normal since so many people are vaccinated. But I'm very curious to see what the airports in Singapore and Thailand are going to look like. It looks like getting through security should be pretty fast. Alright, so over here I got my boarding pass, so just have to turn that in. Alright guys, well here I am in Los Angeles, so I've retrieved my bag. I'm gonna have to catch another flight. I'm gonna be on a layover here for a few hours, and then later on I'm gonna fly to Singapore and then to Phuket. So I've got some time. I can maybe go look around town a little bit. I'm gonna have to find a place to drop off my bag though, so we'll see what I can do. Alright guys, I've now moved over to the international terminal, so I'm flying with Singapore Airlines. They're not boarding yet, but they will be in a few minutes. My flight's at 11:20 and they start boarding at 8, which is almost 3.5 hours, so that's a pretty generous time window. So I'm thankful for that. So this is a big international flight. I suspect we're gonna have to wait in longer lines and go through more security. So might as well be as prepared as possible. Alright guys, so I ended up boarding my plane to go from Los Angeles to Singapore. This was the longest flight of my life. It was over 17 hours. Anyhow, I ran into some trouble because when I first showed up, apparently the COVID test that I took was the NAET, and when I took my test at Walgreens, I think it technically was the RT-PCR, but they did not put the letters PCR on there, so when I arrived at the airport to check in for my flight, they turned me away because it did not have PCR listed on there. So what I ended up having to do in Los Angeles is I had to take a shuttle bus to an urgent care center. I only had like 3 to 3.5 hours before my flight was going to take off, so I was unbelievably pressed for time. Had to go to an urgent care center, pay about $150, get a COVID test done, and I had to make sure that they put RT-PCR on there. It had to be negative because I not only had to take it, but I had to wait for my result, and then I had to bring the document back to the airport to check in for my flight. Thankfully, the airport people seemed caring and they did a lot to help me get there. If I were just on my own, there's no way I would have made it in time. But when you guys get your COVID test before you travel internationally, make absolutely certain that it says PCR on it. You could end up in a world of trouble otherwise. I ran into another problem to where when I was checking in later, the insurance coverage up to $100,000, I did not have the document that said up to 100,000, so we had to make a phone call in order to get them to resend it to the email that confirmed that it was $100,000, and it was scary because I almost missed my flight. But I was able to make it and I got through security. This is the plane that I was arriving on, so it had very few people. If you guys see, we're looking to the left and there's like nobody there. If you look forward, you can see there's some people there, but nothing compared to the usual amount. Usually, every seat on the plane just about is packed, but what ended up happening is that the 3 seats, I could just put up the armrests and I could take a nap. I could sleep like that, which made it all the better. If you look behind me, there's hardly anybody behind me either. Alright guys, we have now landed in Singapore. I'm just waiting to be able to get off the plane.
Bye. Stay safe. Have a good trip to
You too.
Phuket. All right. Enjoy your trip. Stay safe all the time.
I hope Phuket's still a good place.
Definitely, it is. It is a good place. Just look forward to it. You know.
I will.
You will definitely enjoy it. Okay. You too. Stay safe. Enjoy your trip to Phuket.
Take care. I don't think Singapore is open right now. Okay. So it looks like I have to get a bracelet on the hand. It looks like everybody is doing a check here at Singapore. Oh yeah, I'm trying to make some video footage to put on YouTube. Looks like it's about to be my turn. Looks like that's where we're gonna wait to get on our plane, so we're just to go through that line. Alright guys, I'm boarding the flight to Phuket now. I wonder how crowded this plane is gonna be.
empty. Take it and a bottle for you.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Have a pleasant flight. Morning, morning,
Well, this flight looks a little more crowded than last one, but let's see. Morning. Let me check the. Well, I just went through quarantine and immigration. I had to submit, I think, 6 different forms. I had to do the certificate of entry. I had to do the T8, the TM6. I had to show proof of traveler's insurance over 100 grand. I had to show what Shaw Plus hotel I was staying. I had to show my vaccination record. I had to show that I'm COVID negative. And I had to show what flight was going to be my exit flight. Well, it looks like upon leaving the airport, this is where you're supposed to get your COVID test. So I'm about to get mine here. Is the taxi around here? Come on. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, at least it's cool in here. Get to relax a little bit.
Alright guys, please check out some of these links to some of my other videos. Please subscribe, give a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and stay tuned till next time. Thank you.